Samba. You went to Portela?
I was invited.
Yeah.
And I gracefully stood on the side. There's times when you got to know what your lane is and know what your lane is not. Samba's not my lane, so I've been like, oh, you're amazing.
Samba, we can do anything, it's okay. Samba is more than a state of mind than just dance.
I believe it is, but I ain't doing it. I look forward to learning it, but you know, I mean, that's going to happen. I mean, especially now that I know I'm going to be back here, you know, staying for a while. That's the one thing that's really kind of come in solid form in this trip. It's like, wow, I don't have to rush. Because I didn't really know exactly what, I mean, David and I have talked about with the company that I be back and forth quite a bit. But for me to feel it so much that I really want to sort of set up house here makes me kind of know that I can take my time. I'll get to Samba, I'll get to some of the city, I'll get there.
Rodolfo perguntou sobre samba, se ele perguntou se ele foi a algum lugar, ele foi convidado a Portela, mas ele declinou polidamente porque ele sabia que não era a praia dele. Entendeu? Mas ele estava curioso e ele pretende, agora que não tem planos para o futuro de voltar aqui, ele pretende entrar um pouquinho nisso. Tem uma coisa que eu deixei de falar, que era algo que
samba não precisa ter praia, eu também não sei samba.
Eu falei que o samba é mais um estado de espírito do que o...
So samba, you just go with the flow. Quoting the queen, we have to go with the flow.
Okay. What about the Brazilian dancers you were setting up for this production?
Yes.
What do you think about them? What they bring new to your style? What do you see?
You know, we at the audition we had about 60 people show up. We ended up choosing 9 dancers, 5 men and 4 women. And you know, they're young, but their passion to get to the next level is really, really big. And there's just kind of a rawness. I keep using that word, but it really is real. You know, especially when you're in the process with people on a day-to-day basis, and you can tell, you know, in the 3rd, 4th hour who's dropping out energetically and who's not. And every single one of them just continue to really, for the most part, just, you know, just really throw themselves at it. And it was also great that they were willing to let me see what their culture does inside of movement. And the way that I now choreograph is largely about integrating your voice as a dancer, your voice as a dancer, so it all feels much more authentic and rich. So they kept bringing that. And, you know, like literally even up to the day before we opened, we were doing a tech run. And in the middle of the tech, one of the dancers did this extra kind of thing, and it made me adjust what somebody else did. And that's really fun. And so the dancers have been doing that for me. And I've got 2 that are strongly on my mind that I'm trying to get back to LA. So yeah, no, really. One female named Amanda and a gentleman named Leo. They are phenomenal, and they're ripe and ready to work at any level of this game. And so I've already talked to my agents about them, and you know, I'm trying to be their manager. Not officially, but I'm just trying to help them get to the next thing. So
That's right.
yeah.
Ok.
She's like, that's a lot.
Sorry! Eu
Não,
perguntei das audições que ele está fazendo com os dançarinos aqui brasileiros. Ele selecionou de 16, foram 4 homens e 5 mulheres, é isso?
Isso, 5 homens e 4
Cinco
mulheres.
homens.
4 mulheres. E o que ele gostou mais dos dançarinos foi esse lado rawness, poderia ser um lado
aquela coisa assim,
Visceral.
mesmo, né?
visceral.
Eu também.
Dançarino.
É o que eu mais gosto na dança.
E ele gostou muito disso e o que ele gostou é que eles se jogavam mesmo e continuaram ali.
E colocando a marca deles, apesar da coreografia estar marcada.
Eles tinham muito da singularidade de cada um, né?
Exatamente.
Da cultura. Ele explorou 16 ficaram nesses 9 ele viu que podiam.
2 que ele já falou com a agência dele e o Léo.
E o Léo, que
2
são assim.
fenomenais.
São assim especiais. Assim.
E é muito
E
bom
todos
ouvir
esses
isso. Como
9,
brasileiro, eu fico assim com orgulho. Porque assim, it makes me proud of my people, you know? It's so nice to see this.
Oh, yeah.
Because choreographer like you, and you can see our culture, and you can see how our people is so nice, and I'm I'm proud.
Yeah.
Pode passar, André. Ela está muito
Eu fico
orgulhosa
feliz,
disso.
porque a gente
Porque
sempre coloca
valoriza
pra
a
gente
nossa
pra
cultura.
baixo, né? E a gente vê talento maravilhoso. Muito bom.
Now, the beginning of your career. André, tem um vídeo, você passa sem o som, tenta tirar o som dele, tá? Porque aí a gente vai conversando, some dance images of you behind without the sound, and we can talk.
Okay.
When did you realize you would be a professional dancer?
I was 14 years old and I was living in Chicago, that's where I'm from. I had gotten accepted to a magnet high school in the dance department. And we went on a Saturday outing to see Hubbard Street Dance Chicago. And it was in the middle of that show, just watching them. I saw this young female that I'd seen on the news that I loved. And she was the same age as me, and she was amazing. And sitting in the seats that Saturday afternoon, I thought, I want to dance with this company, I want to dance with that girl. And 6 months later, at 17 years old, I was an apprentice with the company, and I stayed there for 5 years, and the rest is all of that. So,
Because Chicago is true love. Breaking up house music. I'm a
What?
DJ.
The warehouse?
Yeah.
Did you ever go to the warehouse?
No, I couldn't go because my age.
Oh, you're a baby.
I'm a DJ.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
And a lawyer. It's a big
Ele falou do começo dele, ele começou aos 14 anos.
Em Chicago, que é uma cidade que eu amo. E aí, ele
Eu
tava...
perguntei como esse sentimento da dança, né, aflorou nele. Ele disse que viu uma dançarina que, da mesma idade dele, que ele
tinha 14, né?
que ele se tocou, e aí ele foi depois para fazer a formação na faculdade.
Não, ele parou e falou, quero dançar com essa dançarina nessa companhia.
É ali que eu quero estar.
Sim.
6 meses depois, ele estava lá.
You had dance classes during the high school, told us. It's true that Michelle Obama was there with you at the same school?
Yes, same school, same class. She started out as a dancer, and it's funny. It's like, you know, that's why things like the Move campaign that she has.
Yes.
That's why that makes sense, and people don't have to put the two together.
Yeah.
It's a way for her to keep attached to dance for where she's at this point in her career, blah blah blah. Yeah, so we were right there.
Eles estudaram juntos
Com a Michelle Obama, estudou com ele lá no high school, né, nessa aula de dança, na mesma aula, na mesma classe.
No mesmo grupo.
No mesmo grupo.
Para colegas de classe.
Que honra pra Michelle.
She was very quiet in class as a dancer. Like she wasn't one of those,
Shy.
kind of shy. She wasn't one of those people that stood out.
Mhm.
Like you know, she would,
Like a mouse.
but she had her skill sets that were supposed to play out in a different way, and so here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ela era muito quietinha, ficava muito na dela, ela não sobressaía de jeito nenhum. Mas era o jeito dela, que ficar ali, ela era uma coisa mais para ela mesmo. Que ele percebia que aquilo ela iria usar de outra forma. Aí, de certa forma, usou.
What about your acting career? Did you study specifically to act?
Yeah, I was hungrier for an acting career, honestly, than I was for a dancing career. You know, my dancing career came as a fluke because the lifestyle I was planning to set up, because I thought I was going to go to high school in Florida. My dad had family in Florida, and I used to go every summer, study karate and things, and I thought I wanted to do that, and it didn't work. But considering how big my dance career is, you would have thought that I would have been hungrier for it earlier. But my acting career, you know, it's funny. I remember the earlier part of my dancing career. I would act out scenes at home. Like my favorite scene was one that I was an alcoholic. Like I would do the same scene all the time. I was an alcoholic who was waking up from just had a whole night hungover, and I need to get another fix. And but I only would work this out when I stayed in hotels.
As a teenager? As a teenager?
As a teenager, because I traveled all the time. So in the hotels, when they had the mini bar with like the little drinks, I would always start my scene on the bed. And then I would come up and then I'd climb and have to get to the bar and pull down all the little alcohols and then pop one, and then I would end my scene the same way. I would crawl to the bathroom because I thought I had to throw up in the toilet, but then I would pass out with my head at the base of the toilet. So I would do that scene, or I would do like I'm insane. Like I was fascinated with losing my mind. And it would always start when I was reading the newspaper. That was my scene. And I would read the newspaper, and as I'm turning, I would feel myself freak out, and I would end up shredding paper all over the place.
You had scripts.
I know.
But
But that's what I did. That's how I
Just for
started.
you.
Just for me.
No
There was no
audience.
one. I never really owed anybody. And so listen, so by the time I got to acting classes, I was well groomed because I was
But that was on your own.
exactly.
On your own?
Of course, by myself. I'm happy by myself.
Perguntei como é que ele começou a carreira de ator, e ele falou que quando era jovem ele ia muito para Miami, para Flórida, porque a família do pai dele é de lá. E quando ele estava no hotel, ele fazia sempre dois tipos de cena, né, com 14 anos. Um era o bêbado que acordava de uma ressaca e ia no minibar lá pegar os drinks e beber, e depois ia para o banheiro vomitar e tudo. E a outra cena era do cara louco, né, que começava lendo o jornal e de repente amassava tudo, rasgava tudo e, né, ele ficava louco. Né?
One question, and after all this mess, someone get in your room.
Oh no, because I go from crazy and then I just organize it
Pretend nothing happened. Pretend nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Yeah. You see anything? I didn't.
Exactly.
So you wrote 2 books. How was this experience? What did you told in your books? Was very personalized. The first one for Center.
The first book, yeah. I call that book my Getting Free. You know, I had looked at my life and my journey and just realized that there were lots of ways that I wasn't fully able to use the full power that God had given me because of all these things, either that life made happen or that I caused to happen. And, you know, I was diagnosed HIV positive in 1985. And that had just been this kryptonite on my back, you know, and I thought, you know, I dated people and figured out when to tell them, and it was catastrophic or some other thing, and I just thought, oh my God, if there was a way that I could just have this information out to the public so I don't always have to say it, that was the impetus for my first book. And it served me well. It served me incredibly well. It took me 6 years to get the first book done. You know, some parts of it I didn't want to write. You know, certain sections that got as dense as they did, and you know, I just kept having to tune in to the higher self that needed a voice, and it just kept telling me it ain't about you. Meaning, you can't stop now as a safety net for yourself, because I need your story out there to serve other people. And the part that you want to hide might be the part that somebody else needs exposed so they can feel free to step bigger in their own way.
A mission.
Absolutely. And so that's what got the first book done. 6 years that got handled. And then the second book happened in 9 months. You know,
Much easier.
yeah, you know.
Quickly.
It was about 6 years later, you know, and I had enough time to process things. And it also was not that kind of book. It was my workbook for my coaching program. So I did a little bit of cut and paste, but it's amazing what time can do to help resolve things. And so by the time I got to mention those areas in my second book, it was easy breezy, do this, do that. And then it was also, it really was not about me. Now it's like, how can you take what you have and structure it in a way that will make sense for somebody else? And, you know, whenever you can get about serving over there, there's always much more flow than how we have to manage our own thing. So, yeah.
Tá falando sobre o primeiro livro dele, né?
Uau.
Sim, imagina. Sobre o primeiro livro dele, ele levou 6 anos para escrever, por bastante tempo, foi muito trabalhoso. E o que ele queria mesmo era colocar para fora. Ele falou que no primeiro livro tem muita coisa pessoal sobre, principalmente a diagnose de HIV, que foi em
85.
85.
85. Em 98 foi o livro.
Isso.
E o que é importante foi que ele, ouvindo esse ser espiritual, que dizendo para ele seguir, para atingir mais pessoas, até mesmo que ele influenciou uma geração, né? Então,
inclusive que ele tinha parte que ele queria esconder, vamos dizer assim, do livro, mas que ele ouvia essa voz que não, tem que dizer porque talvez essa parte que ele está querendo escrever, esconder, isso vai ajudar as pessoas. Então esse livro era como se fosse uma missão para ele, né? Poder ajudar as pessoas, e realmente isso aconteceu. Muita gente ficou tocada com os livros, com as entrevistas que o Carlton deu.
Ele liberava, foi até uma libertação para ele, porque ele sempre quando ele encontrava alguém, ele tinha que falar e tocar nesse assunto. Olha, eu sou HIV positivo. É uma coisa muito dura. Exatamente. É uma pequena tragédia. Tem que colocar isso e ver a reação das pessoas, né? Muitos se afastavam, muitos saíam correndo, outros faziam cara de paisagem, mas mudava tudo. E uma vez que ele coloca isso no livro, todo mundo já sabe, está exposto.
E ajudou, acho que, a mudar a consciência das pessoas. Eu acho que muita gente que está aqui também, quando ficou sabendo e tal, a gente viu que você desmistifica, né, a doença, né? E porque hoje tem tratamento, tem tudo, né?
Principalmente na época, 85.
Isso.
Né?
ajuda demais.
E aí ele falou que 9 meses
Sure.
depois escreveu o segundo livro.
About the other dancers, about the absence of Gabriel. So, what can you tell us about that? Because everybody else was there. I loved the movie. It was.
Yeah.
I have no words to describe how I felt because it was amazing.
Sure.
To see everybody together, but that absence.
You know, it was revealing to me to have the reconnection with the guys, you know. The scene that's in Strike a Pose at the end, when, you know, it really was the first time that we'd seen a lot of each other, some of us the first time since we did the
It was the
gig.
best scene.
Yeah. And, you know, Gabriel was a really, he was probably the most angelic, loving person on that entire tour. But he really was.
Very innocent.
He was very innocent. He was very even keeled. He was not demanding for your attention. He didn't feel caught up with the fact that he was working with her. He just was like a really, just a lovely spirit. And
Was he outed? Was he outed? Was he involved?
Some elements of the film did that, you know, and that was the challenge for him when Truth or Dare came out.
Because his family didn't know about it.
His family did not know openly about it, you know. And it's been amazing, you know, his mom was on the touring junket thing that we did when Strike a Pose came out. And, you know, for her to watch her son go through all of that he went through physically and with the lawsuit that happened with Truth or Dare, she was very resentful of that, of the kiss scene that happened in Truth or Dare that caused His mother, that caused a lot of the controversy initially. But as we've been touring the world and been able to realize the real impact that we made and that he specifically made by saying yes to that choice, that kiss resonated a healing for so many young people that none of us could see coming. And so what's so great now, again, that time will do, his mom is incredibly proud of that entire journey that happened with her son. You know, and that's just one of the things that as I get to do moments like this and come and speak and, you know, it's just getting people to realize that it ain't over till it's over. You know, everybody's got some journey, everybody's got a process that they're trying to work through. And my particular journey has absolutely shown me that just because you can't see it doesn't mean that the blessings are not strategically being designed in that exact same timeline that you're doubting and you're scared and you're nervous. You have no idea what can be going on the other side of the freaking world for your behalf. So my big main statement is hang in there. Hang in there, because you just don't know what can come around tomorrow. And we hear that as an intellectual statement, but to be able to get to walk that out and see that really be fact, that what you believe can be flipped and changed so radically, and then your life can have flow. So that was a lot for the interpreters. Good luck.
Dá pra resumir.
A gente quer ouvir tudo. Olha, foi muito bom ter que falar tudo, porque todo mundo
Não, eu só agradeci porque era tudo pra mim.
Eu perguntei sobre o filme Strike Pose e a falta, porque um deles faleceu, em 95, o Gabriel. E isso que seria essa ausência no documentário. E ele falou que foi aquilo foi a mãe dele que teve presente, foi parte do documentário, a mãe do Gabriel, e ela foi muito positiva, ela teve falado do filho, porque na época que saiu o Strike, o Truth or Dare, com a Madonna, teve a cena do beijo dele com o Salim, né? E os pais não sabiam, a família dele não sabia. Então houve um momento em que até eles processaram a Madonna por causa disso, porque eles não deram a permissão para isso. Isso causou um grande problema com ele e com a família. Mas, por outro lado, como estava falando, isso causou que para toda uma geração, para todas as pessoas que estavam assim muito reclusas, aquilo foi uma libertação também.
E aí a mãe dele agora, no Strike a Pose, ela pôde acompanhar e ver, e ela entendeu que aquilo ali foi importante, que o Gabriel fez, para poder conscientizar as pessoas, né?
Até a forma como a mensagem dele para a mãe veio. Ela não estava vendo uma coisa promíscua, ela estava vendo o amor de duas pessoas. Carinho, amor, e isso foi importante. Como eles sempre tratavam como uma família, né? Todos dançarinos, todos ajudavam como uma família. E uma coisa importante que ele falou no final, né? A gente não sabe o que as nossas ações vão
Reverberar.
lá na frente, entendeu? É uma coisa muito, muito importante. E que a gente não sabe o que está reservado para a gente. E as coisas não acabam até que realmente estejam esgotadas.
Muito bom.
Então cada um tem o seu tempo e...
Ainda bem que tá gravando.
Ok?
Tanta coisa, não, né?
Vamos lá, gente, continuando. Agora vamos falar um pouco da parte com a Madonna. Now it's Madonna talking.
Okay.
Madonna talking.
I'll cheat herself.
How did it happen to work with Madonna? How was the audition process?
The audition process for the Blonde Ambition tour was it was fun. It was packed. You know, it was an open call, so there were probably
Like 400 people?
no. There was close to 1,000 men
Whoa.
that showed up for that audition and lines all the way down. Yeah, it was crazy.
Was in LA.
It was in LA at a place called Alley Cat. It's right in Hollywood. You know, we did the regular thing. Audition, she cuts. And then, like you see in Strike a Pose, I got home and got a voicemail. And it was basically her saying, come meet me at this club, which was literally like a tavern, old school hood club, perfect for me. What? Yes. Totally, it was great. And I went, and it was really basically all the guys that ended up making the tour she had selected. And she's very smart, because her thought was, we're gonna have all these days, all these hours, all this travel to do. Let me see how y'all hang, who can party and still hold it, or not. And so it was a lot of fun. And the second tour, getting to go back for the girly show, was a straight up phone call and invitation from her. I ran the auditions with her in LA for the girly show. Got to get two of my really good friends cast in it. Chris Childers is one of them. And it was great, and she's great. And, you know, she is, I always say, despite how globally epic she is and this bigger than life persona, on the day-to-day she really is like this underground artist.
And very professional.
Oh, of course, you know. But to that point, her drive to stay in excellence is one of the things that has also yielded her this reputation of being a bitch and being difficult.
Yeah.
Because she stands for quality, period.
And she is the first person to rehearse, and then she demands
I don't
the
know if
same.
she's the first person to do it, but she was the first person who had cameras on the process. You know, because Michael Jackson
of course.
was the same. I got to work with Michael. Janet and her camp are the same. But Madonna was the first one that let you in on it. She was the first person, and still, you know, even more than the other artists, she's the one that really works well to largely feature the other performers and take time away from herself. You know, she'll let you carry the stage, and as an artist, you can't ask for anything more than somebody giving you the full reign to do your thing. So she and I have a common way. You know, I'm also a perfectionist in my life, and I'm very strong-willed, and she's very strong-willed. But she also knew that I came from a real solid dance career, coming from a dance company and all that. And I was also older. You know, the other guys were 18. I was 26. You know, I had a full career by the time I got to her. I'd already been interviewed and been in newspapers and all of that. So I
had auditioned for Whitney. Tour, but she wasn't able to start the tour. So
yeah, I went on the Whitney tour, got accepted. She put a hold on when we were going to leave, and in that 3-week time, the Madonna tour came up, and I thought, fuck it, I'll just go because I already have a big tour in my pocket. I don't really need it, and I think because I got to go there and be much more kind of easy breezy about it, I think it really worked. But it served me, because when Whitney ended up choosing to go to Japan only for 3 weeks, that's what she decided her tour was going to be. And the Madonna tour ended up being as big as it was, and so somehow I went out. Yeah.
Perdi, gente.
I'm sorry.
Vamos começar falando sobre
Quando eu senti uma
Exactly.
Aí o Rodolfo começou a falar.
primeira coisa sobre a Madonna.
Next time I'll be sure.
It's not your fault.
Isso, como foi o começo dele encontro com Madonna. E uma coisa interessante que ele falou que foi em Los Angeles e
1000 dançarinos nos apareceram para audição.
eram 100, centenas, ele falou, não, tinham milhares.
Milhares.
Era assim, bizarro.
O que eu gostei foi que ela ligou e chamou todos para uma boate bem
Ela
underground.
deixou um recado na secretária eletrônica dele, ele se assustou, isso tem até no documentário no Strike a Pose. E no dia seguinte, na noite seguinte, numa boatezinha meio
Bem
esperando,
underground, uma caverna.
que era maravilhoso para aqueles que foram escolhidos para poder, né,
E
bater
uma
martelo.
muito inteligente, o que
sobre
ela
a
fez?
estratégia,
Ela
né?
botou todo mundo no grupo para ver se conseguiam conviver bem, se aguentariam curtir e trabalhar no
Se
dia
eles
seguinte,
tinham,
né?
se
Isso
eles
achei
tinham
maravilhoso.
força, eles tinham brilho, se eles, como seria a
Perfeita.
harmonia deles, isso foi
Perfeito.
bem inteligente.
Não tem o
E
que falar dela.
E pro Girl Show ele recebeu uma ligação, teve que fazer audição, mas foi convidado diretamente. E o que ele falou também, que os rapazes, os dançarinos da Blonde eram todos 9, 18, 19 e o Carlton já tinha 26, então ele já era um dançarino profissional, já conhecido. Então ele trouxe também isso para tudo.
E na Girl Show ele fez parte da...
Ele escolheu também.
Ele escolheu também os dançarinos, ele trabalhou junto com a Madonna escolhendo os
Na
dançarinos.
audição.
Falando que ela é muito perfeccionista, e ela busca excelência.
A
Ela
excelência para
maravilhosa,
ela se
incrível.
cobra muito, ela cobra muito dela e cobra dos outros. Mas uma coisa importante, muito importante que ele falou foi uma coisa que não se encontra em qualquer artista. Que eu gostei muito de ouvir isso. O fator
Ela
dela
diz,
dar
ela dá
espaço para os outros brilharem.
Ela queria a personalidade de cada dançarino junto.
Ela queria cada um ter um tempo no palco em que as pessoas fossem não ficar só lá atrás, mas todo mundo, cada um teve essa oportunidade de brilhar, de aparecer, de se mostrar como artista.
Maravilhoso.
Isso aí é uma coisa assim,
Me
muito
controlando para não
humana.
gritar no nome dela.
Carlton, before Blonde Auditions, after the audition for the tour, you shot the video for Vogue. Was it before, right?
Wait, ask me that again.
You were preparing to go to the tour, but before you shot the video for
Correct. For
Vogue.
Vogue.
So you worked with David Fincher.
David Fincher.
A genius. How was this
Artista da
experience?
Whitney.
He's great. I mean, David followed suit with how the Madonna way is, which is, he comes with a vision, but he also trusted the power of each one of us to come in and show him what might be the best way to do a move, section, or whatever. So he was really, he was great. He was great. He just let us kind of do our thing with some structured guidance around it, and I'm grateful.
Então eu perguntei que antes de sair na turnê eles gravaram um vídeo de Vogue, né, que foi um clássico, e ele pôde mostrar um pouco da dança dele com o David Fincher, que é um gênio, né, do cinema, que estava dirigindo o clipe, que dirigiu outros também. E mais o quê?
Eu me lembrei da Whitney, que a gente está esquecendo de
A
falar.
gente deixou isso de fora, porque foi muita coisa. Ele estava para sair em dupla
Com a Whitney também,
com a
vou
Whitney.
pensar que